Today is Vagrant Day. So, Vagrant is just like one of my favorite tools ever. I use this thing daily, I use it nightly, I use it in work, I use it at home, and this thing is it's just awesome. It's just the best tool ever. It allows you to essentially create virtual machines that you can just repeat over and over and over, and you just launch them really, really quickly. We use it in work because we have Java developers that I found were using different versions of Java, 7 over here, 7.1 over here, and there were minor version differences, however, there were version differences, and that's quite dangerous when you go into production. I use it at home as well. I use it for Ansible role development, which I'm going to be videoing soon. I use it for Python application development, coding. It essentially allows you to create a sensor, in this case like a Sensor 7 box, which you can just spin up, install all your requirements into, get your code working, get your application working, and when it's working, you can use the exact same Ansible code, the exact same provisioning code that you've used to launch that virtual machine, to take everything in that virtual machine and make it live. It's so cool. I'm just going to jump straight in and we're going to go to screen. So this is vagrantup.com. This is where you're going to be downloading Vagrant. It's really easy to obtain. It's really easy to install. We won't go over that here. You'll also need VirtualBox, which can be obtained from virtualbox.org. Again, we won't cover it. It's pretty simple. You should be able to work it out. So in a terminal, we're going to start with a very simple Vagrant init. And this is going to give us a basic Vagrant file, which doesn't actually work out of the box. And if we take a look inside, we'll see why. So we're going to crack it open in Vim, and we're going to see here that just a few lines down it says config.vm.box equals base. That's pretty useless. There is no VM called base. So let's create a new one called Vagrant init Sensor/7. And now if we look inside this Vagrant file, we'll actually see that it says config.vm.box equals Sensor7. So that's just something to watch out for. If you do Vagrant init, you'll get a Vagrant file that doesn't technically actually work straight up with a fresh install. Now with a quick Vagrant up, what we're going to experience here is the box coming up, but we're also going to run into a bug that I came across on my local machine that I want to show you. I want you to experience it, and I want you to see how to resolve it. And you see the way it says authentication failure? Okay, that's because Vagrant is attempting to remove the insecure private key with a new one, but it's failed to do that. It's inserted a new key, but now it's failed to authenticate. So what we have to do here is crack open VirtualBox, highlight the virtual machine that we've just created, the faulty virtual machine. We hit Control F to power it off, and then we hit Control R, and we essentially remove the virtual machine out of VirtualBox and delete all the files off disk. So with that done, what we can do now is edit the Vagrant file that we created earlier. We're going to pop in there in Vim, and just underneath config.vm.box equals CentOS/7, we're going to throw in a new config.ssh.insert_key equals false, and it will prevent Vagrant from actually inserting that key as you saw it do earlier, and it will remove the issue. So now when we Vagrant up, we'll just get a nice clean simple CentOS7 box that comes firing up, and we can go into it straight away. However, there we go, now we have a working VM. However, I want to talk about plugins. So look at this, Vagrant plugin list. There's a key plugin you're going to need here, and it's Vagrant VB Guest. This installs VB VirtualBox Guest editions for you. It makes it super easy. It does mean that the Vagrant up process is longer, but you really do need guest editions to increase stability and speed. So let's go ahead and install that. Assume it doesn't exist here on my system, and it's really simple. We do Vagrant plugin install Vagrant-VB Guest, and that goes out to the internet, grabs it from GitHub for you, installs it, and you're ready to go. And now when we bring up a box, check out what happens now. So we're going to do Vagrant up. This is with the VB Guest plugin installed, and we can see here it says no installation found, loading plugins fastest mirror. I'm speeding this up obviously for the sake of YouTube, but this is essentially installing the guest edition straight into the CentOS 7.2 box for us, which is awesome. We don't have to do anything, and there we go, we're done. We now have a box. We can SSH into this VM. So here's our VM essentially now, what Vagrant has created for us, and look, it's a full-blown CentOS box. It's just a full-blown VM. There's no trickery. It's just a virtual machine. Vagrant has taken care of the interactions with VirtualBox for you. We can install stuff. We can update the operating system in full. It's just awesome. Like, this is a full operating system inside a virtual machine, fully managed for you. It's super, super easy to do. Everyone should be doing it. You should be doing it. Your developers should be doing it. This allows you to create a clean room each and every time. We can install packages as well. Let's do that now. So we're just going to do a quick yum install of Vim. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to use a provisioner in your Vagrant file to actually make that Vim installation automatic. So inside of our Vagrant file, we just throw in config.vm.provision type shell inline, and then we do the yum install again, providing the -y flag. The -y flag is critical. You don't want Vagrant running commands that require you to interact with the command. You don't want to do that. And now all we do is we do Vagrant Provision on our running box. Vagrant Provision will automatically run for you when you Vagrant up for the first time. Vagrant will run the provisioner. It'll do the yum for you. It's installed it, and now you have Vim in there. So you might want to share this box. You might have installed lots and lots of software, so you might want to package it up. That's also really easy. Check this out, Vagrant Package. It shuts down the VM gracefully for you. It exports the VM to a file locally. It dumps it straight on disk. Now, they are pretty large. They're about 600 meg in this case. They can be much bigger. And now what we want to do is we want to get rid of the VM. That's even easier. That's just Vagrant destroy. We confirm with the command line. It deletes the VM, and away you go. And that is Vagrant in a nutshell. It's Vagrant Day!